Hey everybody, David Shapiro here. Yeah, so I was really excited to work on. Um, Earlier, I was working on my novel writer, and I had from a previous experiment, I had 200 different premises, and I was like, okay, that's good, but we can do better. So I was talking to my fiance, who is a librarian by training and an avid reader, and so she sent me this document, which has a list of all kinds of appeal terms. And then what I did was I went to Wikipedia, and then I also went to TV tropes, and I got lists upon lists of genres. So I took all that together and I made a bunch of files. So we've got character types, we've got genres, we've got 192 genres, three different paces. I did 31 settings. Um, I did 11 storyline types, 24 styles, 39 time periods, 53 tones. And so you multiply all that together, and we have 292 billion different combinations for stories. I wanted to make sure I got every possible type of story. Now, this excludes video games and a few other things, but yeah, so this is a lot. So we can get most storylines in here, and then I stuffed it all into a prompt. So brainstorm an extremely long, complete, detailed synopsis for a story with the following appeal terms: genre, setting, time period, story type, pace, character, tone, style. So this should cover all of literature and film and TV, but well, most of it. Extremely long and highly detailed, complete plot synopsis with beginning, middle, and end. Okay, so I got that, and then I generated. I've generated more than this, but these are the current ones that are pretty good. And so what I did was I stuff it all so you get all the appeal terms right at the top, and then here's the story. Um, Appeal terms: swashbuckler in Australia in the 21st century, believable, intensifying, conversational, moody, and plot driven. So in the year 2020, swashbuckler adventurers still exist, and Australia is their playground. 21-year-old Lara Croft. Despite all of my effort, GPT-3 still spits out existing character names. Anyways, we'll fine tune this eventually one day. Is the daughter of one such adventurer and has always dreamed of following in her father's footsteps. Her father is killed on an expedition in the outback. Despairing, she travels to Australia to bury her father and sell off all his things. In the small town of Millbrook, she meets an old man, etc., etc. Okay, so let's just give you an example. No, come here. Generate synopsis. So, cooking stories in Korea in the 23rd century, open ended, intensifying, religiously diverse, steamy, and stylistically complex. Um, so, let's see. Yeah, this is like a 1 in 292 billion possibility. It's taking a minute to generate, so I'm wondering how long it's going to be. Okay, so it is the 23rd century, and the world is a very different place. In Korea, a smaller and more densely populated country than it is today, the main form of transportation is by maglev. The cooking style of the country has also changed, relying heavily on what can be grown in vertical gardens and hydroponic farms. Now that's cool. One day, a young woman named Sue Min is on her way to work as a chef at a famous restaurant in Seoul. So this is 23rd century Seoul. She's from a small town and is not used to the hustle and bustle of the city. She's waiting for her train. She notices a handsome man also waiting on the train. They make eye contact and there's an instant spark of attraction. All right, there's the steamy bit. At the restaurant, Sumin's boss assigns her the task of preparing a special dish for a very important customer. The customer is a religious leader from another country. Interesting. Who is visiting Korea on a diplomatic mission. So you see how all these different appeal factors get woven in? So it's a cooking story that takes place in Korea in the 23rd century, and there's a religious character. So there's the antagonist that seems like there might be some religious tension. It's intensifying and stylistically complex, and then the steamy bit. Gotta get that in there. Let's see. To complicate matters further, she is also told that she must use only ingredients that are available in the country, which means that she will have to get creative. Interesting. So one thing that I'm noticing is that when I came to this, I probably ought to maintain the descriptions for these, because what I did was I oversimplified it. So Scary is obvious. Sardonic is, some of these are kind of obvious, but they're not always obvious. So like character, if a character is sassy, these books feature characters that are usually women with outsized personality and a bottomless well of one-liners and comebacks. So there's, but particularly the writing style and tone, right? So if it's incisive, like these keenly discerning books cut right to the heart of the matter, right? Just by adding a little bit more, that'll tell GPT-3 what to do. And I think that'll definitely help with writing style, character, and tone. So what I might do is I might go back and add some of this information back in. But here, let me do a quick time check. We're only at 5 minutes. I'll pause it and add those back in, and we'll see if it helps. Okay, so I went and updated all the appeal terms. Well, not all of them, but some of them. So on the characters, same number, but I just added a little bit better description so it'll prime the pump a little bit more, so to speak. Genres, that's the same. I deduplicated it. So it's 192. Originally, it was over 300. And then, so for the pace, got fast paced, intensifying, leisurely paced, settings, and of course, there's so many more settings. I could put in lists of cities, towns. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Small town, rural, somewhere. Da, 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 da. Big city life. Um, then storylines, action packed, character driven, so on and so forth, with a little bit more description. So again, giving it just a little bit more verbiage to chew on, so that GPT-3 knows what to do with it. Styles. So the style, by adding a little bit more about style, you're going to get something a little bit better. Time periods, and then tones. So creepy, like unsetting in a visceral, skin crawling way. All right, so we generated one blaxploitation parody on another planet, alternative timeline, story type, action packed, pulse pounding is the rule, pace intensifying, character introspective. These characters examine their own feelings, tone hopeful while addressing weighty issues. These books incorporate some optimistic elements, style gritty, characterized by a narrative style that includes dark and unsettling details. So then the appeal terms, that's a big chunk. Beginning back on Earth in the early 21st century. Oh boy. Okay. Was a hugely popular movie franchise. The films chronicle the adventures of the vampire Blackula, who's from another planet. In the first film, Blackula arrives on the Earth and imposition by the evil Dracul garage door opener company. What? Blackula quickly realizes he is not welcome on Earth, so he realizes that he returns to his home planet. I might have thrown too much of League of Drainy superpowered beings. This is very strange. Okay, let's run this again. I might have thrown too much at it. All right, so superhero literature, big city life, in the 17th century, world building, pace intensifying, characters twisted. Let's see, what else did we get? Tone disturbing, style dialect filled. Okay, in a distant galaxy. Oh, I wonder why it said distant galaxy. That's fine. In a distant galaxy, an energy being known as the One has been narrowly defeated by a brave band of heroes known as the Vanguard. I guess it does say superhero. It's fascinating. And then world building. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so it's just kind of regurgitating some of the stuff. Oh, wait, no, those are the things that I told it to do. Okay. The One unleashes his fury on the heroes, killing all of them except for one, an amnesiac girl who the heroes had rescued from a nearby planet. Okay. The caretaker, cool. The girl who takes the name of Sarah quickly assimilates to life on Earth. She soon discovers that she has superpowers. Okay, so that's a cool origin story. Sarah must find and rally the people of Earth to stop the One. Excellent. Yeah, Sarah travels back in time but is too late. The Vanguard has already defeated the One and about to kill the last remaining member. Sarah herself. Oh, cool. So it does integrate that time travel bit. Fascinating. Okay, let's do this one more time and we'll call it a day. Let's see. Science fiction, England in the 3rd century. Own voices. Share marginalized identity. Pace is intensifying and character sarcastic. Tone is explicit, lots of vividly described sex. Ooh, okay, that's pretty spicy. And then slang heavy. Sabrina is a 20-something-year-old woman and lives in England during the 3rd century. She ekes out a living as a... Okay. I'm not going to say that out loud. Servicing Roman soldiers who are stationed nearby. Yeah, okay. So this is one thing that I really don't like about the fine-tuned is that there's so many typos in the training data for GPT-3 Instruct that they end up in this, and it's because they paid a whole bunch of contractors to just generate a bunch of content. So, anyways, side tangent. Let's see. But they can help her escape her current lifestyle if she's willing to work for him. Okay, so Sabrina is initially hesitant, but the man is persistent and eventually agrees to work for him. He tells her that his name is Lucius and that he's a member of a secret society that is working to overthrow the Roman Empire. Now that's cool. All right, you got my attention. He tells her that they need someone with her knowledge of the city and the people in it to help carry out their plans. Ooh, this is some espionage. Sabrina is apprehensive but excited. She agrees to help him and over the next few months becomes an invaluable asset to their cause. She helps them to gather information about the city and the people in it and who to trust. She develops feelings for Lucius, which complicates matters. That's where it gets spicy. Eventually leads to the group downfall. Sabrina is captured and imprisoned. Oh, wow. Everyone is executed. That's horrible. And she wonders what she could have done to make things differently. She is executed, and the Roman Empire continues to rule England for centuries to come. Wow. Okay, that's really heavy. Yep, definitely intensifying. I guess yeah, the idea of science fiction was kind of overruled by everything else. But yeah, okay, that's we've got something that can generate some pretty intense plots here. And so then, as I alluded to at the beginning of this, I am working on a plot writing or a novel writing thing. But you need a premise to start. You need that seed, that kernel. And so by having something that can generate 292 billion different arrays of appeal factors. Oh, and also we can do even more. Let me show you, because what I'm doing here is with generate plot synopses, I'm just grabbing one of each of those. You can get multiple tones, multiple characters, multiple storyline styles, and so on. So yeah, you can easily just continue to add to this. So like for instance, let's see, settings. Let's see, across the whole planet, right? So you just add one more thing because there's plenty of settings you can do. There's plenty of time periods. Although I got pretty much all of, from everything from ancient history, mythic period, up through like far future, distant future, alternative timelines, and so on. But yeah, so I think I'll call that a day. I'm very satisfied with this. This is clearly very useful. Get status, get add, get commit am. All done. So this is a very useful. Like you could also just call this a writing prompt, right? So this is my epic writing prompt generator. You can run this every day for many years and you'll never get the same one. So another thing that happens is because I use a UUID and a high temperature, even if you run the same exact plot or set of appeal factors through it, you're not going to get the same plot synopsis twice. So technically you have an infinite number of plots in this plot generator. Sorry, that's the novel writer. But the plot synopsis generator, technically you can get an infinite array of stories. Okay, cool. Well, I'm satisfied with this. Yeah, once I get a little bit, in case you're curious about where I'm going with some of this stuff, there's a reason, there's a method to my madness. So I've got the synopsis generator, the novel writer that uses the plotter method. One other thing that I worked on was the creative writing coach. So the creative writing coach was this was an idea that came from Reddit where someone wanted something to provide feedback. Okay, well, so what happens when you get a manuscript? So it'll only take another couple of days worth of work, I think, to get this to generate a full manuscript. I've been taking notes about how to expand each section. So then you get a manuscript, but what if it's garbage, right? That's been the big problem with AI generated stuff, is that it's garbage, and it's because, and to be fair, a lot of human first drafts are garbage. So that means we need to integrate a cycle of iterative improvement, of refinement, and that is where I'm going to take my previous work on a creative writing coach to provide feedback. And so the idea is that this repo, the plotter novel, will just generate a manuscript. The idea is to get between 50 and 100,000 words. That's most stories. It's much harder to handle longer stories, like up to 300,000 words. But the definition of a novel is 50 to 60,000 words. And if you say that's an average of 1,000 words per scene, so that's 50 to 60 scenes. That's not the hardest thing in the world. So that's what I'm aiming for the first version. But then once you get a manuscript, it's an entirely different process to make it better. So the goal here is to generate a manuscript, just barf it out as, whatever you put in, and that's where the synopsis comes in. So step 1, come up with a synopsis. Step 2, generate a manuscript. Step 3, make it better. So that's what I'm working on. And who knows, we're only a month and a half away from NaNoGenmo, so maybe I will just spit out a whole bunch of automatically generated novels for November for NaNoGenmo, NaNoWriMo. I'm really excited because I have a feeling that this is going to work. I've been playing around with GPT-3 for a couple years now, and I've been experimenting with cognitive architectures, and I'm not even a semi-pro author. I've spent more money as an author than I've made as an author, but I do it for the love of the art. And so now I'm going to try and pour everything that I know about making stories into making them automatically, and we'll see how it goes. The idea that there might be an infinite number of stories out there to write for people, because some people yeah. All right. Anyways, I'm rambling. I'm gonna stop there. I hope you enjoyed this. Please feel free to use the synopsis generator and just run with it. All right. Talk to everyone later.